I must admit, when I first heard of home birthing, I was like, ew, that's kind of gross, and not safe. And is that even legal? And now at 35 weeks, that is exactly what I am planning for, a home birth. Here's what changed my mind, and hopefully here's some encouragement if you are considering the same. Hello, sinners, saints, my fellow ribs, and the glories of men. Welcome back to another video. My name's Grace, and today we are talking about home birthing. Yes, even you can home birth as well. I must admit, years ago when starting to learn about women's birth stories and really getting into it, as a teenager, for some reason, this was like my ADHD obsession for several years. Home birthing was something that came up a lot, and I really considered it something that's like risky, messy, like, I can't imagine having to clean the house like right before I'm in birth. Like, I would want the house scrubbed down clean, like, cannot think of that. But over the years, I really started to not consider home birth, but consider the fact that the other options weren't exactly viable. So for example, hospital birth, bringing a heavy rate of intervention, like it just makes sense. Being closer to accessing the intervention makes you more likely to reach out for it in times that aren't completely necessary. So then I didn't want a hospital birth. And then maybe it was a birth center, but then that seemed kind of redundant. You've got the drawbacks of having to transport while in labor, potentially getting turned away. But yeah, you still do have some medical care. But what if you get risked out as high risk and all the care and effort that you go to investing in a birth center birth goes out the window? So then that seems less of a viable option. And then I thought about home birthing. And I was like, well, maybe at an Airbnb or maybe somewhere else. But then eventually, home birth started to really make sense. First of all, addressing a few common misperceptions. Home birthing is legal and it's safe as well. You can give birth wherever you want. It's not illegal to deny care. It's not illegal not care. It's just socially sometimes a little bit questionable. The secret here is that it's just a little bit socially unacceptable. That's all. In fact, you can birth wherever you want. You can free birth. You can birth with or without certain people. It's totally up to you. Physically and emotionally, physically, first of all, your chances of having any high-risk issues, there was the Places of Birth study with Dr. Hannah Darland and a few other researchers. They kind of pretty much came to the conclusion that if you plan to have a home birth, your rates of intervention, your complications are way better off. The difference is very clear. And so physically, you're just as safe. There's no difference in mortality for you or for baby. It's a safe thing to do. But I think the biggest draw card is emotional safety. You are in a place that's familiar, an environment that is friendly to you, with sights and smells that you are used to, relaxed in. This is probably the place that you've conceived your child, and it's probably the place that you're going to bring them to this world. Home birth is also affordable. Now, I recognize that it's not cheap, and it's certainly not as free as the public system that's offered in Australia, but it is affordable. And especially when you take into account the long-term issues that arise and stem from complications and chronic illnesses that stem from complications from a potential hospital birth. I think that definitely makes home birthing, whether you do that with or without a midwife, a doula, or without a doula, or just completely solo birthing by yourself, it makes the home birthing alternative a lot more affordable. I know for me that all the money that I spent on healing from my birth, my hospital birth, it would have been much more nicely invested in a private midwife earlier on. Yeah. And I'm going to say that home birthing is the best option. Ultimately, everyone should be planning for a home birth. You should be prepared in the event that baby just happens to come for you really, really quickly. There are so many stories of women who are like, oh, my baby came really fast and was just born at home or born in the car on the way to the hospital. You should be prepared in the event that baby comes very quickly. On top of that, you should stay home for as long as possible, because as soon as you walk through the doors of a birth center or the hospital, you are on a timer. You're on a ticking clock. With regards to how long you are able to labour unhindered, labour without medication, etc. And on top of that, it allows you to remain in authority. When you are at home, this is your space. This is your place, your being. This is where you reside. And so you are more inclined to be a little bit firmer in the things that you want. It's very different when you're taken out of a familiar environment. You're taken across the city to a place that is very unfamiliar, where people work, they spend many hours of their day, and they are the social authorities as well in that area. And so you're more likely to acquiesce to their suggestions, let's say, sometimes demands, as well when you're placed in that environment as in comparison to at home. Essentially, why do we go to a strange environment that we've pretty much never visited before, that we don't know well, to birth, which is a process that requires you to be emotionally and physically safe and to be in dark spaces and to feel protected? Why do we go to a completely foreign place to do something that's so vital and depends so severely on instinctual care? But what if I'm high risk? And I hear you on that. What if there's a midwife that won't attend me? I hear you on that. For those who know, for those who don't know actually, my personal situation is that I'm considered a very high risk, currently stable, but I'm very high risk for a very potentially deadly disease that could go badly very quickly. And as a result, most private midwives will not take me in their care because it's too risky for them. And so my current plan is, yes, I'm being seen by the hospital, I'm being seen by the doctors and midwives there, and by all legal paper trails, it looks like I will birth at the hospital. Now, that's not my plan. I hope to stay home as long as possible, 24 hours at least, and if baby comes in that time, then baby comes. And I think that would be a fantastic, wonderful birth. So you can mix and mash your care as well, but you just have to be informed. You have to be firm about your decision making. So for those who are wondering if there's a halfway point, maybe consider the oops, my baby arrived before we got to the hospital method as well. If you're curious or interested about home birthing, I hope this helped provide some clarity and insight. But let me know, what's one thing that you wish you knew earlier about birth? Anyway, that's all for today. Grace and peace from our Lord and Saviour, and I'll see you tomorrow.